Namaste students. Today we are going to start a new chapter. The name of the chapter is Federalism.
Student, in this slides you can see one heading, one question is there. What is federalism? So what is federalism? In this first point you can see federalism system of government in which power is divided between central authority and various constituent units of the country. That means federalism means when the power is divided between the central government and the state governments, it is known as federalism. You can take the example of our country, India. What happened here? Power is divided between the central government and the state governments. In the second point you can see usually federalism has two levels of government. One is the government for the entire country. That means first you can see one is the government for the entire country that is usually responsible for a few subjects of the common interest. Here you can say about the central government who is responsible for a few subjects of common national interest. Next, the others are government at the levels of the provinces or the states that look after much of the day-to-day administration of their state. Here you can say about the state government. In this slide, you can see the first heading, the key features of federalism. First point, there are two or more levels of government. What is this? That means there are two or more levels of government. Second point, different tiers of government govern the same citizen, but each tier has its own jurisdiction in specific matter of legislation and administration. Here it means that in the central government we have the Supreme Court and in the state level we have the High Court or the district courts. Next point, the jurisdiction of the respective levels of tiers of government are specified in the Constitution, so the existence and authority of each tier of government is constitutionally guaranteed. What happened? The jurisdiction of respective level of tiers of government are specified. Everything is specified in the Constitution. We know we have a written constitution, so everything is specified in the constitution, so the existence and authority of each tier of government is constitutionally guaranteed. Next point, the fundamental provision of constitution cannot be unilaterally changed by one level of government. Such changes require the consent of both the levels of government. What happened here? The fundamental provision of constitution cannot be changed by one level of government. It needs or it requires the consent of both the level of government. That means it requires the consent of both the central government, require the consent of both the central government and state government. Next point, the court have the power to interpret the constitution and the power of different level of government. We know in the central level we have the Supreme Court and the state level we have the High Court. Here the courts have the power to interpret the constitution and the power of different level of government. The highest court acts as an umpire if dispute arise between different level of government in the exercise of their respective powers. Suppose in case some dispute arise between different level of government. That time what happened? The highest court, that means the Supreme Court, acts as an umpire to dispute arise between different level of government. Last point, the federal system thus has a dual objective. That means the federal system has dual objective. First one, to safeguard and to promote the unity of the country. And the second one, at the same time, accommodate regional diversity. In these slides, you can see the first headings, what makes India a federal country. Now we know the meaning of federalism. Here we will discuss about the what makes India a federal country. See, here you can see the three lists. First one is union list, second one is state list, and third one is concurrent list. That means we have three lists. First one is union list. This means it includes the subject of national importance. Those who are the national importance subject, you can take the example of banking, communication and currency. These things comes under union list. Then the second one is state list. Here those subjects are included. You can take the example of police department, trade, commerce, agriculture and irrigation. The third one is about the concurrent list. It includes the subject of common interest to both the union government as well as the state government. You can take the example of education department, forest, trade union, marriage, etc. Now in the below you can see the another one is there, that is residuary subject. What it is? It means there are some subjects which came up after the constitution was made. So according to our constitution, the union government has the power to legislate on this residuary subject. In the slide you can see one question is there, how is federalism practiced? It is written that constitutional provisions are necessary for the success of federalism, but these are not sufficient. We all know that in our constitution some provisions are there, but these provisions are not sufficient. The real success of federalism depends on the nature of democratic politics in our country. The first one is linguistic status. See, the creation of linguistic status was the first and a major taste for democratic politics in our country. We all know in 1947, that means India got independence. That time what happened? The boundaries of several old states of India were changed in order to create new states. This was done so that people who spoke the same language live in the same states. And some states were created not on the basis of language but to recognize differences based on the culture, ethnicity or geography. Here you can include the states like Nagaland, Uttarakhand and Jharkhand. The second point is language policy. Here see, we all know that Hindi was identified as the official language, but Hindi is the mother tongue of only about 40% of Indians. Therefore, there were many saved to protect the other languages. Besides Hindi, there are 20 other languages recognized as the civil language by the Constitution. How many languages was recognized? 21 other languages recognized by our Constitution. In this slide, you can see the first heading, CentreState Relation. Here you just take the example of our country, India. What happened? India, the central government, BJP is the ruling political party. Or you just take the example of Assam. Here also ruling political party is who? The BJP. That means in both the central government and the state government, the same political party govern our country. That means what happened here? This means that when the same political party rule both at the center and in the state government, that time what happened? The state government did not exercise their rights as autonomous federal units. That means they cannot exercise their rights properly. That means they don't have that much of freedom. But And our next point, if you see, as in when the ruling party at the state level was different, the party rule at the center tried to undermine the power of the states. Another, if you see the another picture, what happened when at the central government, the political party, suppose you take the example in the central government, the ruling political party is BJP, and in the state government, if the ruling political party is Congress, then what happened? The ruling political party at the center always try to undermine the power of the states. Next point, if you see, in those days, the central government often misused the constitution to dismiss the state government that were controlled by the rival party. When in both the central government, in the central government different government is there, and in the state level different government is there, what happened in that point? The central government always try to misuse the constitution to dismiss the state government that were controlled by the rival party. All this changed significantly after 1990. This period saw the rise of the regional political party in many states of the country. When regional political party arise in after, that means after 1990. In Assam, you can take the example of the AGP. AGP is the regional political party. This was also the beginning of the era of coalition government at the center. This is the era of the what? The coalition governments at the center. In this slide, one question is there. What is coalition government? What it is? See, a government formed by the coming together of at least two political parties. That means not a single political party. There are at least two political parties are there. Usually partners in coalition form in political alliance and adopt a common program. That means partners in coalition form in political alliance and they have the same, that means they have a common program. Students, in this slide you can see how the states played for more powers. In this slide, the first heading is decentralization in India. What it is? In this chapter, we know when the power is divided between the central government and the other states government, it is known as federalism. Now, what is decentralization? That means when the power is taken away from the central and the state governments and given to local governments. Again, I repeat, when the power is taken away from the central and state governments and given to local government, then it is known as decentralization, or we can say it is called decentralization. Okay. Next, what is the objective of decentralization in India? The basic objective is that there are a large number of problems and issues which are best settled at the local level. People have better knowledge of problem in their locality. That means those people who are living in the rural area or they have better knowledge about their localities. They also have better idea on where to spend money and how to manage things more efficiently. Those people who are living in that particular locality, they have better ideas on where to spend money and how to manage things more efficiently. Besides, at the local level, it is possible for the people to directly participate in decision making. Apart from this, what happened? This local level, it is possible for the people to directly participate in decision making. Local government is the best way to realize one important principle of democracy, namely local self-government. This is for today's session. Thank you.